Good morning, good morning, good morning. How are we all? How are we all? An absolutely miserable, rainy day here in South London. Hope you're all well. The news this morning, it's not a surprise, is it? Is it a surprise for Tottenham fans? Paratici has resigned. You get the feeling that it was probably more of a little bit of a push rather than a voluntary thing. Look, the circus that is Tottenham Hotspur continues. It's been another one of those years to forget, another one of those years. And how many in the last 23 years, how many in the last 30, 40 years could we say, yeah, let's move on to next season? Let's break this down. Where do we start? Look, Paratici, a lot of people loved him when he came in. A lot of people were very excited because of the work he'd done at Juventus. Lots of people that were digging deeper into, sorry, move the mic closer to me. That would help, wouldn't it? A lot of people that are in the game were saying, well, hang on, this guy isn't the guy behind Juventus' success. He was the face of it, but he wasn't the one behind it. Anyway, if you do some digging, you'll see that, that a lot of the players he brought in were not great. A lot of his transfer dealings weren't great for Juventus. Anyway, of course, naturally, if you're not great at what you do, you end up at Tottenham Hotspur. So Paratici comes to Tottenham Hotspur. Everyone gets excited and it's, oh my God, we got Paratici. Right. Your first job, get us a manager. Brilliant. Okay, this is how it went. We spent ages trying to get Fonseca. He tried for Conte. Conte didn't want to know at the time. Then we tried for Fonseca and that didn't happen. Then there was the debacle with Gattuso. And the fans were, oh, no. We don't want Gattuso. No. And we ended up with Nuno. His whole search ended up with Nuno after, 70, 80 days, whatever that number was that it took for us to find a new manager. Okay, right. So you've brought Nuno in and Nuno was going to make us proud, remember? Now let's look at his first 5 signings. This was his first summer where he spent a fair bit of money, but these were his signings. And forgive me if I forget anyone. Galini on loan. One of the worst goalkeepers I've seen pull on a Spurs shirt. Just absolutely shocking. Brian Hill. Make up your own mind on what it cost for Brian Hill because of obviously Lamella going the other way as part of the deal. A huge amount of money spent on a player that wasn't played by Nuno, then wasn't played by Conte, has now gone back on loan to Spain, to Sevilla, who knocked out Man United last night, but we're not talking about that. Then Emerson Royale. We all know about Emerson Royale, a player that divides a lot of opinions, but for me, should never be wearing a Spurs shirt. He's not good enough. And for the, 32 million that Paratici spent on him, you're telling me we couldn't have scouted better right-backs across Europe or the world? Worrying. And again, if anyone had seen Emerson Royale play for Betis, you would know he wasn't very good. Anyway, we move on. Then the next player we brought in was Papa Sarr. Okay, but we're 2 years in now and have seen him, 4 times? What was the point? What was the plan? Who was he brought in for? And then the saving grace, but even this player I'm not enamored with, if I'm really honest, in Romero. Romero's a good defender. I think that our fan base overhyped this guy unbelievably, and he gets away with doing a lot of silly things because we blame Dyer and Davis and Sanchez. Is that true? We don't know. We'll see if he ever gets a proper partner. But that was his window. That was his first window, and fans went, oh my God, look at this guy. Paratici's cooking. He's cooking. Shocking window, shocking appointment of manager. Then we fast forward. Nuno goes and he brings in his mate Conte for 18 months. Now, listen, I'm going to caveat all this by saying, yes, by now, people in the comments, because this is pre-recorded, I've done this first thing this morning. You guys probably won't see it until lunchtime. The appointment of Conte, I'm going to caveat this with like anything. All signings, all appointments. Obviously, Daniel Levy is there. Daniel Levy is behind it all. But he has given Paratici a lot of money and not done very well with it. Likewise with the manager appointment, I've said this from day one. I know a lot of people hate when I say this. Conte was never the right man. He was never the right fit. He is a manager that has an average tenure of 18 months at every club he goes to, and yet fans still can't seem to understand why he didn't last long at Tottenham Hotspur. It was never going to last. Anyway, we're not talking about Conte. Paratici. So then the next window, we spend most of the window going after Luis Diaz and Adama Traore. And we got none of them. Not saying I wanted them. That's not the point of this. The point was that's who we went after. Then on the last day, the last 36 to 48 hours of the window, he manages to get Kulusevski and Bentancur. But they weren't our first options, were they? Or they wouldn't have come on the last day of the transfer window. We would have got them right at the beginning of the window. So again, it was very much hit and miss. Yes, again, I'm going to say it. This will upset people. Kulusevski and Bentancur are good players. No more, no less. I like them. I've been disappointed, if I'm really, really honest, with Kulusevski this season. He had a great impact in his first 3 or 4 or 5 months. But other than that, I've been really disappointed with him. Bentancur is a good player. Again, I think we try and overhype him too much. We miss him. Of course we do. He's the best midfielder at the club. But again, he's a good player. For me, goes missing way too much in big games. But then you could say that's the whole of the team and we haven't given him a midfield partner, because I don't count Højbjerg at all. Anyway, so now we fast forward to the summer, and Paratici manages to pay £60 million for Richarlison. I'll let that sink in with you for 30 seconds. Well, for 5 seconds while I drink. 60 million for Richarlison. Jed Spence at 12 million, but okay, we're going to put that as a Levy signing. Cool. We'll move that to the side. Perisic at 33. Shocking signing. Now, there's a little bit of hindsight there, but poor signing. What was he bought for? If he was bought to be a left wing back, he can't play it. He's dreadful there. He can't defend for a start, and he's not really that great going forward. Anyway, then you look at it, Basuma, why was he bought in? Good player, but why was he bought in? Was he bought in to play in an Antonio Conte style? Not for me. He needs to play in a free, something Conte didn't want to do at Tottenham. And then you look at all of this, and then Longley on loan, and you think, it's just poor, poor, poor. Then you've got Porro. What was he bought for? Then you've got Danjuma, again, just a very cheap loan. Look, all in all, Paratici for me has done a dreadful job at Tottenham Hotspur and spent a lot of money. We can criticise Daniel Levy for lots of things, but giving Paratici money is not one of them. He spent a shed load in the, how many windows has he had now? 4? He's had 4 transfer windows and bought 17 players. And how many of them would you say have been a success? A real success. Romero's been poor this year. Kulusevski's been poor this year. Who's been a success from who he bought? Bentancur before he got injured? Other than that, I don't know what the man has done. He didn't implement a philosophy. There was no style to the players we were bringing in. It would just seem to be hit and hope. So for me, I'm glad the guy has gone. I don't make any two ways about it. He was dodgy from the start. Clearly, there's a lot of evidence against this guy. The fact that his appeal has been rejected. And I'm glad he's gone. Now, what that does allow. Now, this is where we shift it all to Daniel Levy. Mr. Daniel Levy, Mr. 23 years at Tottenham Levy. He has yet another opportunity. I don't know how many he's had, but he has yet another opportunity now to implement a philosophy, to bring in a manager and a director of football at the same time that believe the same thing. Hopefully, that belief will be progressive front foot football. And then they can hopefully, and lots of hopefullys, listen, pipe dream, but listen, you've got a dream. Hopefully they can then implement that slowly but surely over the next 3, 4, 5 windows, getting in technical players that can play forward-thinking football. But what that does allow is it allows them to build, have a reset. We've got a mini reset. Yes, it's not the reset most want, which is Levy, Paratici and Conte, or just Levy and Paratici. It's not the master reset, but it's as close as possible. The director of football and the manager have gone within a month of each other. I'm happy about both of those people going. I'm not bothered about the rest of this season. People keep saying, oh, you know, look what's happened since he's left. I don't care. This season's done for me. I don't care if we get Champions League, Europa League, Conference League. No, for me, the most important thing now isn't European football. The most important thing for me is that the director of football and the manager that come in are on the same page. Not just the same page, but the same paragraph, the same sentence, the same word. Down to the full stop. On the same page. Can we do that? Daniel Levy has had this opportunity so many times. He said it 2 years ago before we brought in Paratici and Nuno that we're going to go back to playing the Spurs way. And we didn't. He's now got that opportunity again. So hopefully the manager we bring in is forward thinking. Hopefully the mini reset can take place. And it's going to be a long road. Whoever we bring in is going to be a long road. No manager or director of football is coming in and fixing this club in one window. So what we can't do is expect that we're going to have a summer window and then next year, right, we're winning a league. It's not going to happen. These things take time. But for me, the worst thing that Daniel Levy's done is he's never put the right pieces in play at the same time. The closest we got to that was Paul Mitchell and Poch. Right pieces, right time, and he didn't kick on. He's got the opportunity to do that again. I'm not saying Mitchell and Poch, but he's got the opportunity to do that again. Now, what does that mean for Scott Munn coming in? Scott Munn isn't really the football guy, is he? So I'm sure we're going to get a director of football, because that was one of the things talked about this morning in my Spurs WhatsApp group was, does Munn step in and do it? But I don't think he does. I don't think he's the football guy, right? I think a director of football will report into Scott Munn and he'll do more of the commercial side. So listen, lots happening, lots changing at Spurs. It's never dull, is it? It's never boring. It's never dull. We go again and we see what happens. This season can't end quick enough. I think there's a lot of clubs that are saying that at the moment. You look at Chelsea, you look at Liverpool to a degree, Spurs, Man United after last night. It's always fun and games at Tottenham Hotspur. Anyway, leave your thoughts, get your questions in. Let's have this discussion. I'll be back later doing a show with Henry. And then I am on tonight at 6:30, just for half an hour, to speak to Pete from MAG NUFC, to obviously a Newcastle fan. We will be discussing the upcoming game at St. James's Park. I think we're going to get absolutely spanked. Let me know what you think. Paratici's gone. Conte's gone. Is Kane going to complete the Holy Trinity? The Holy Trinity. I'll leave it on that note. Much love, everyone. Please like, please subscribe. We're inching closer to 5K. So if you haven't subscribed, please do. It will be much appreciated. Take care, everyone, and see you later.
And here comes Hurst. He's got some people are on the pitch. They think it's all over. It is now.